Finally getting around to the protein video. Excuses, couldn't do it. But anyway, very happy to be doing it. It's the importance on protein, and the reason that I'm doing it is because I just want everyone to be slightly more informed on the dangers of not taking a synthetic B vitamin complex if you are vegan. I heard a friend of mine recently said that he was vegan and he wasn't doing that, which is also fine if you're a nutritionist, but he wasn't. He didn't know anything about nutrition, and most people don't. So I'm just here talking about the importance of protein. The first thing that I want to mention is that liquid protein is very useful. I know that a lot of people say, oh, it's so dangerous and this and that and this and changes your hormones, but you have to research the companies that you're looking at. If it says USP or GSP, that's most likely pretty good, and don't take my word for it, go look it up. Companies like Muscle Milk and Nature's Whey, spelled like the whey from the milk, W-H-E-Y, they have tests done on them all the time. They've proven themselves over and over again. And the importance of liquid protein is because when you eat a piece of meat, something beautiful about protein and meat is that it unravels very quickly. It unravels as soon as it starts hitting the stomach acid. Most things that are complex carbohydrates, or even something simple like a monosaccharide, that might even take a little bit more time than a protein. So proteins are very simple. I don't really know how to explain that too well. I want you guys to go research more on your own. I'm not a teacher, just trying to give a little bit of a viewpoint. Basically, protein absorbs quicker into your bloodstream. However, it still takes about 30 to 45 minutes for it to be usable, because it takes that long to reach your villi and microvilli in your stomach lining. So the quickest way to get protein into your system after an intensive workout, and this is very important, if you do some activity, like if you walk around the block, you don't need to drink protein. But if you go lift hard and then do cardio and then stretch after, and later in the day you go do something like play soccer or football or MMA or whatever your thing is, then yeah, you might need protein, most likely after the hard workout, an intensive workout, whether it be cardio or anabolic, lifting. It'll get into your bloodstream much quicker, and your body will use it immediately to start rebuilding some of the damage that happened from the workout. Something else that's really important about protein is the shape and contour of the protein. The protein itself can be called the binding site. What connects to the binding site is the ligand, and I'll define that for you right now. A ligand is an ion or molecule that binds to a central metal atom to form a complex. The complex that we're forming in this instance is a protein. Something that's also very important about the ligand reaching the binding site, which is the protein, is that it forms non-covalent bonds. Now, the difference between non-covalent and covalent is that instead of sharing electrons, it involves the dispersal of electromagnetic interactions between or within a cell membrane. Now, these non-covalent bonds, they kind of form these little lines, if you could imagine it, and they go to very specific binding sites determined by the amino acids. Now, this is important because some amino acids are hydrophobic, which gives it its shape, or part of what gives it its shape. So these amino acids that are hydrophobic, they kind of turn in like that, which helps the folding of the protein. The shape of the protein determines what the protein is. It's kind of if P then Q, because the amino acids determine where the non-covalent bonds form, and then the folding and the amino acids, the shape, it all results into the function of the protein. One of the functions of proteins is enzymes. So all proteins are enzymes, but not all enzymes are proteins. Something interesting that I think that's interesting. So basically, an enzyme is an active site, and the substrate will reach the active site, which is the enzyme. It'll change shape a little bit and then produce something else. The reason the enzymes are so important is because it speeds reactions up. And the way it speeds reactions up is that it lowers the necessary action potential. Action potential is the amount of energy needed to perform a function like if you're that a metabolite would function. So like when you digest something and it metabolizes and it turns into something else, or just when something changes in the body. There's multiple examples. Like I said, I'm not a teacher. I hope you guys go out and research on your own. But basic, and this can be looked up on, I think it's called the NCILB. I'm pretty sure that's it. But basically it lowers the necessary energy for action potential, and it also helps stabilize the reaction, also lowering the action potential, the energy requirements. The leftover energy speeds up the reaction. Another very important thing is cell protein turnover. So you have proteins, they're used, and after they're used, they are degraded. Sometimes in the protein, amino acids are still usable, and that will go back into the protein pool to be used for some other enzyme or function. So if you are in a high state of synthesis, you are most likely in an anabolic state. Now, if you are in a highly anabolic state, that's a healthy thing. You are building muscle. You are, if not building muscle, your metabolism is working very quickly and efficiently. There's probably more nitrogen in your system than someone who is sedative. However, it's in a healthy form because you are getting rid of it in a healthy way by exercising. And again, if you want to research what I just said, go ahead and look it up. Like I said, I'm not a teacher. All I'm hoping to do is to give a viewpoint that's slightly educated, and you guys can go research on your own more. So to me, the most beautiful thing about protein is that it is involved in in transcription from your DNA. And I might say this word wrong. I might have said covalent wrong. But it's a RNA polymerase. It slides along the DNA strand, and as it slides, it builds RNA. It slides along the DNA, builds RNA. So it reads the set of instructions and sets up the RNA, and the RNA gives the instructions to whatever protein it's building. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this because it's very complicated and deep, and like I said, I'm not a teacher, but I hope you guys go and research everything I just said for yourself. You'll start to see how beautiful the human body is, how everything is interdependent. It's a beautiful thing. But the purpose of this video was just to let you guys know, yes, it is okay to be a vegan. I advocate that. It's very healthy if done right. But and one of the reasons why is that when you are vegan, you don't get as much fat. You know, just a side note, it's not necessarily that the vegetables are more healthy, but they are. It's that also one of the variables, if this was an experiment, would be the fact that now you are not receiving as much fat, and the fats you are receiving are good fats, healthy fats, omega-3s, omega-6s. But anyway, it's monosaturated and polysaturated fats, I should say. That's a better way to describe it. But if you are going to be vegan, you need to know what you're doing. You need to get the essential amino acids still. You need to know how to mix your vegetables, your fruits. You need to know how to get your B vitamins, which nothing is absolute, but it is very hard to get B vitamins from something that is not animal fat. But there are synthetic B vitamins, like I said in the beginning. And there are also variations of diets that you still can get what you need. It's just very difficult. And so if you are not a nutritionist, or if you are not working with one, I do not suggest it. I personally, with the little education I have, it might be a little bit more than the average citizen, but I would still take a synthetic B vitamin complex. I wouldn't try to. It's very difficult and very expensive. One of the reasons why. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of money. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you go and research on your own, and maybe you guys can comment as to what you would like me to go over next. It'll be a general thing like this, and as my videos go on, they'll start to be more complex, as my education grows, as my ability grows to make videos. and I hope that you guys enjoy it and stay along, and that while watching my videos you learn a little bit of how to take care of your body a little bit better. That's pretty much the purpose here. Alright guys, have a great day.